Going to make a new bracket for back here, hold the boot lid shut. This is the old piece of bracket they had with the pin sticking out, just screwed to the floor. So I'm going to make something different. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, which I've already bent up, and that, put that on the top, weld it on with a pin across the middle, so that and this job, which I've got to make a new one because it isn't long enough, will rotate and go around the pin. So that's the idea. This is going to be the pin. I've just got to turn it down a little bit more. So just stick the clutch in, and these are bloody stuff won't come out the bloody spout now. That's an indexable lathe tip. And they work pretty good, these particular ones I've found. Yeah, I got a clutch on this one, so I can just shut the clutch off, and auto drops out. Bob's your uncle. Just got to turn it down a little bit more. Shut that bracket off. Right, what I want is to turn that down 1.5 millimeters, and I'm going to set that stop up to there. I've zeroed the stop and clamp it off. Then I'm going to back that off 1.1, so 2.5 is there. That now is 1.75 millimeters. So that tool will only travel in 1.75. Lovely. I've already cheated and made one pass, but this lathe is in metric, so it's I need another 0.75 off to get down to 6 mil. So if I can just pop that around to the 0.5. Now I'm not bothered to engage the feed. Very much point. And another 2.5. That is going to be it. Okay, just cleaned up the end of that. I do not know how long that is. The idea is to now measure it with the vernier. And it measures 15 millimeters. Well, 0.02. So I want 2 millimeters off that because I know it's 13 mil I need. So that was the idea. So now I've cleaned that up. I'm going to put that back in the chuck, set up the stop, knock off 2 mil. I know where I am, and then take it and set down the 1.75 again on the end. I want 9 millimeters and then at 9.5 mil across the middle. So that's what I'm going to do. And when I've done that, I'll show you what I've achieved. Okay, back in the lathe again. I'm back on the final pass on the other side. Just nick that off. That should now be down to 6 millimeters. Shut that off. I'll measure that up and check it. There's the little pin, the two little shoulders turned down. These are the tips. They're called, they say for aluminium, but they're safe for finishing stainless steel. But they turn silver steel, they turn stainless steel, brass, aluminium. I use them for everything, and they seem to work very well. You can just sharpen them up again. They're ground, and they got a very high rake on the top. They cut lovely. Whereas opposed to that, I don't get any joy with that thing. I just scat the end off that one. Oh no, I sharpened that one up with a little turn up. Look, and that actually turns better than the original. But that, I got several of these now in another box, but that is a very good tip. Well, I find they turn beautiful. And silver steel, which is quite difficult, quite tough sort of metal. It chews off. It doesn't come off nice, but that turns it smoothly. I don't think it'd take a lot of abuse, but it works quite well. I might get some triangular ones. I don't know what number they are, what letters. Like these are D, C, G, T. I don't know what the other ones are called. Can't remember. Right. This was the end result. The pin goes into that plate, and then this piece fits on like that, and I've got to spot weld it down the side. Just put 4 welds there just to stop that flapping around, and that'll be captured in there then, because I've turned those shoulders down. And I'm thinking to countersink these holes, and I'm just going to rivet that over a little bit, and that'll be that. And then I'm going to drill these holes out here, and that's for mounting, so that'll fit flat into the back of the boot, up against like that, if that was the inside. And then this little chap will come down and hook around, but that's another story, because I haven't even made that yet. So there, look, that's the old one. I can't even use it. I took it apart to see how to fix it, and it's rubbish, so I'm not going to bother. I can make my own. Load of old junk. Right, it's the same thing as the whole car. Load of old junk, may as well build my own. Okay, I've splashed a couple of welds there, a couple of little spot welds, which are looking pretty good. Some muppet blew the corner off the metal over on this side. There. Never mind. So you put another weld next to it, and another spot weld there. It's still bloody hot, it's burning me out. So what I'm going to do is tidy that up. That's a bit near that hole, should drill these holes a bit further out. But I'll just tidy that up, file that down and around, and that'll look fine. Paint that black, and I've riveted this over. Just riveted it over a little bit, so it's just clean off the back, paint that, and that's part 1. Beauty. Okay, cleaned up that little weld where I blew the corner off, rounded it away, sort of tidied it up with a little diamond burr, which worked. I used that stone to start with in there and cleaned it up, and that bolt will go in there. I've got to slot the holes, and this fits in the boot on location in the rear end. This is going to go there like that, which I think will look a lot neater than the stupid bracket that was there before. It will fit virtually up flush like that, and it is about that height. I've worked it out. If I make the arm a little bit longer, the hook, so that will fit there pretty good, and I can slide that up and down for a bit of adjustment, because in here I'm going to bond a piece of wood in there, glass it in, and that will stiffen this, stiffen up the back end of this car. It's quite thin there, and it'll stiffen that up. And I'll put a couple of steel inserts in the wood, and I think I'll put that on there, and then it'll slide up and down. Job's a good one. Better than the old tat that was there before. But what a bloody mission, because I've got to make a new bit. For God's sake. Oh yeah, making a new hook for the tailgate latch. That's it, roughly chopped out, and I'm now machining down either side to create the little spindle, which is going to be like a small diameter there, and I just have to turn it around and do the other side. You can see this is highly safe. Nice, isn't it? And I got it on a slow feed going in, and I'm just going to stop it when I get to a near place, which is about clipping that bolt head. I've got to turn a little bit of the bolt head off. I'm just going to rough it down, and then I'll finish off the diameter later on. But that's basically what I got to endure. A lot of hit and miss turning. Just finishing off another pass. I can just make out the shiny line there, which is the diameter it's cutting on. And I'm still using that aluminium grade tip, without for aluminium, but still tungsten carbide. And it's I'm really testing it on intermittent cutting, really. I'm seeing what it does, and it seems to be doing okay. But I'm not going to go in much further than another about 2-3 mil. Yeah, probably just going to rough it into there. I'll just switch it off, and that's what we're achieving. Smooth face, and that is going to be the spindle for this arm once I've finished. But then I shall turn that diameter down in a different way. But that's coming off very nice. This here, I've got to finish this up. It's just roughed out. But that's the idea. That's going to make a new hook, and then I'm going to finish that old intermittent cutting, which was driving me crazy. And I've now got a boss either side of the plate. I know that one's a bit wider, but I don't need all that. I've got to turn that off now. But that's basically it. And some dozy fool drilled a hole in the wrong place. But I'm going to weld that back up. I'm going to stick the MIG in there and weld it in and file it back out again. Never mind. But that's basically it. It's 10mm longer. I got to file a square hole. So that's that. Intermittent cutting isn't ideal because it chatters a bit, but it'll do me. Right, filed it up a bit now. It's beginning to look like a hook. As soon as the pin is 8mm, I've made it 8mm. So that there slot is 8mm. So that's that. Just got to put the square hole in now. Haha! Hey presto! A square hole. There. Ding dong. That'll fit. And this little chap goes in the hole. And that's pretty good. There's a little bit of slack, but it's alright, doesn't matter. If you want to make it tight, just whack this with a hammer. Burr it over a little bit. Yeah, fine, job done. So that's the arm. And these are the side plates. So I've just got to fill in the ends with a block, fill in the end there with a block, and that's basically done. I shall probably, I don't know, I may spot weld it, or I may rivet it. By the way, I spot welded that hole. There, that's where I grounded off a little bit, filled that hole in. I've made a error of judgment and drilled it in the wrong place. I actually don't know how that happened. I blinked and it ended up drilling a hole in the wrong place. Never mind. So that's that. Right. Bit nearer. Okay. I decided to rivet the two plates together, so I've drilled the holes, countersunk them, and I'm just going to use this, which is a bit of nail, a bit of soft wire, and I'm just going to put that through, make some rivets, hammer them over, file them off, and that'll be that. And then I'll file off all this excess metal here just to trim it all up. I haven't countersunk these holes yet, so that'll be my next mission. Righto, rivet it together. Shall I use a tiny old piece of metal? It's got a few rust pits in it. That'd be even better. But that's the riveted nails. Just hammered them. Just put them flat on there. I had about 2mm more nail poking through either side. Put it flat on there. Whack it a few times that side. Turn it over that side. Whack it a few times, and then keep doing that. And keeping it looking fairly even until it worked out more or less right. That one there's a little bit proud there, but that don't matter. But that's the finished thing. And that's that. So that now will go in there. Not like the other one. Well, the other one went in there, but the arm was too short. So that'll be the new new catch. So that's it. So now I've got to drill through here. Oops, drill through there and through here, and that'll be mounted in there. We'll bolt through from there. Bolt through from there. The old one was put on the outside here, up like that. Down here I had, I don't know, self tapper there and a pot rivet over here. Oh, it wasn't any good. So there we go. That's that. So the next bit will be fitting it in there and fitting it to the car. So that goes in there. There. Booty it is. Just like telephone boxes. Okay. What seemed like forever, I've fitted the new catch I've made into there on some 2 bolts, and there's a couple of spacers there which are turned up pieces of aluminium stuck in with a bit of filler to set their own stand, and this isn't anyway, that's how it works anyway. And I'll put a plate on there, and I've just literally drilled and tapped the fiberglass because it's, Christ, I don't know, over ½ inch thick there, and there, just literally drilled and tapped at M4. I've just made that little cover to go over there, and that's what's going to happen. So that comes up through there, works like that. So that is what I've come up with. What I think is acceptable, and not what was on there before. It was fit for a wheelbarrow. Where is it? Yes. That's good, isn't it? Just held on here, pot riveted on, and a self tapper. Go away. I think that is good. Yeah. Handsome. Proper job. There you go. Final shot with the 2 screws in. I think might even be tempted to countersink those 2. Dunno. They're alright. But that doesn't look bad. I couldn't do the piece in one piece because I couldn't put 2 screws through there, because if I did, the cover would be on. I couldn't put the nuts down through there. So I had to put this cover on separate afterwards. It's impossible to get inside. And I'll just put that, I haven't put the spring in yet, but I think I'll put a little spring in there just to keep that up there. The only thing is, just make it out there. My countersink didn't do a very good job. That one was alright. This one started doing hexagons. Bloody thing. Oh well. It is what it is. Right. Mark 1 catch didn't work. Mark 2 does work. Difference is that one is dead flat and a bit tight. And this one here, the pin is angled because the block of wood in the back is at a little bit of an angle. So I've had to tweak the pin up at an angle to make it fit. So I made that angle right first and then put this plate on just to help support it afterwards. And that pin is slightly smaller diameter than that pin. And the hook, I rounded off the hook so it's not such a tight fit. Smoothed the hook, and now it works. Alright, that's the hook fitted, or the catch fitted, in the back of the car. And what I was saying is that block of wood that's fiberglassed in wasn't tilted enough, so I've had to tilt the pin instead. But that's now fixed there, and I should just do a quick video, a little clip of it with the camera inside the boot showing how it hooks in. Yeah, so as you could see, it didn't exactly line up absolutely squarely, but because I've rounded off these edges in here, it's not so reliant on being absolutely square going into that notch down there. So that's worked. I'll just smooth this off. So I'll put a little bit more paint on and it'll be okay. But that's basically, I've got it coming out through there. And as opposed to being attached on here, because what was happening is that the hook, if you used it as it was originally meant to be, bolted on here, this sort of wide piece of fiberglass here isn't quite in the right place, and I think it's this side, this lug on the end of here, the tab for the hook was hanging out over the edge and it had nothing to bolt to, so you couldn't bolt it on very well. So on another car, yeah, fair enough, use it, but I had to modify this one to make it fit and make my own hook and make my own catch. What a carry on. But I've done that now, just wants a bit of paint and I can move on. Thank Christ for that.